Good evening and welcome to the least professional show on all of the internet. I am Chris Cole's Mr. Reagan. This is my good buddy Jason. Jason, today we have a very special guest. Did you know that?
Not until like 20 minutes ago.
I know. Well, let's bring him in.
It wouldn't be the least professional show if something like that didn't happen, you know?
I know, that's right. And this is evidenced by the fact that we are 7 minutes late. But you know what? Normally this is Jason's fault that we're late. But today it's actually my fault. I'm going to take responsibility for this one. But let's bring onto the stage. Hold on. I got to make sure I got the name right. I think I do in my head. I think I do. Yes, I got it right. Okay. All right, this is Mr. John Patton. He's got an amazing YouTube channel.
I'm here.
John, why don't you tell everybody what your YouTube channel is and tell us a little bit about it. I'll give you a hint, guys. The name on the bottom of the screen is The Gun Collective. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, John, you like guns.
Just a little bit. The Gun Collective is primarily a firearms news source. I focus on new products, industry news, some Second Amendment issues, things of that nature, anything related to that. I've been doing it for 9 years as a job, and that's pretty amazing. And I mean, really, when you simplify it, I just make fun of people's hard work for a living. Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Well, you know, this is one of the best jobs in the world. We can just talk about the things that we're passionate about, the things that we love. And I watched a couple of videos on your YouTube channel. You're a spectacular YouTuber.
Thank you.
Your knowledge base is great. Your ease on camera is good. Your charisma is great. If anybody wants to know anything about the Second Amendment or guns or the gun industry, you got to subscribe to this guy's channel. All right. So what we're going to do on this show, because I know we didn't really have time to bring you up to speed, because as I said, we're extremely unprofessional. Is we like to just go through the news.
Okay.
You know, the news of the day or the last couple of days, and we say, okay, what do we think about this particular issue or that particular issue, that particular story, and we just go through it. So,
easy. Yeah,
and we just chat. So. Why don't we just? I think we have a super chat here. Actually, I didn't. Where is it? Comments. Let's see here. Starred. Oh my gosh, we got a couple of great super chats. The first one's from Christy's Corner. She says, "Jumping in early, so I don't say anything that you are getting ready to say." I don't know what that means. And spoil it. I don't really understand that, but okay. Great minds. Well. I'm glad you're here early, even though we were here late, Christy. See, even our fans are more responsible and professional than we are. Curtis, KD5AYY. This is our like mega donor, I guess I'd call him. This guy's amazing. He comes in often and like just throws money at us. He's a
Curtis,
genius.
he's the man.
Amazing. We're going to rename the whole live stream just the Curtis live stream. And he says, nothing to add, really. Just wanted to make a donation. Well, you are a gentleman as always, Curtis.
What a nice guy.
He's the coolest guy. All right. So then let's go ahead and just jump into the first story. Because unless Jason has something that he feels like he needs to share.
Well, yeah, I do. First of all, what do you think about the gun industry? Since that's what you do.
That is the most broad way to ask me of that question. What do you think about the gun industry? Well, on a dark and stormy night 100 years ago, it was founded. No, like it's cool. I mean, I sort of live and breathe the industry, so I am fortunate enough to know the ins and outs of a lot of brands, a lot of creators, all that. Like that's my role. I'm sort of the community guy. So it's easy for me to like have a bead on it. What do you want to know specifically?
I just gave you a picture, Chris. Can you post that up?
On the
yeah, I thought it was hilarious, and
I'm trying to post things, and now I have to move where I am in the feed. He sent me so many things. All right, let me throw this up on the screen.
It's just racist memes over and over and over again.
That's all he sends me.
Like, stop sending me Hitler. God.
Vicious that way. He's kind of a weirdo. All right, let's see here. Okay, we're throwing this up on there. The grocery run was $181.44. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts my
I
soul.
wish I wish you could zoom into that, but notice the 3 boxes there.
They say,
oh,
there's our guns on the left. Is that bullets?
That's just
Is
ammo.
that bullets?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's most of that cost.
But it's true. That's basically my shopping day. I want to ask you, what do you think about the prices of ammo now? And
That's funny. That's funny.
I mean, it sucks. It's kind of a necessary evil, with the rising cost of raw materials and the fact that the United States is no longer a producer of a lot of them. That makes it very difficult for us to do it in a cost-effective manner, which sucks for everybody. The things that used to cost next to nothing are now starting to get a little bit more expensive. 9 mil and 22. All those costs are going up and up and up, and it just sucks across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's a big problem. Like I remember back in the day, being able to get like boxes and boxes of ammo for like practically nothing.
Right.
And now I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if it's purposely done or somebody out there is doing it or it's just like you said. It's the market and stuff.
It's really hard to say. I mean, with the nonsense being perpetrated around the world, that cuts off some of our supply because it's being redirected, like primer manufacturing and the sort of raw materials like nitrocellulose is one of the components of gunpowder. And if I'm not mistaken, there's nobody in the U.S. that makes that right now or supplies it. So that makes us very dependent on outside sources.
Okay,
yeah. It's not great. It's not great.
Is this because of Ukraine? Is that one of the major reasons for
partially?
That,
yes, partially yes. But we have never really truly recovered after the spike in sales of COVID. I mean, the gun industry sold everything they could every day for a few years straight. So we never really recovered from that. And then we decided, what? Let's fund two terroristic countries fighting each other. Let's just fund that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you think there's like an ammo shortage?
No. I mean, not anymore because the demand has dropped off to a point where the manufacturers can keep back up. It's just because of the reduced supply and the difficulty of getting these components to make it, the cost just has to go up.
Right. Not necessarily an ammo shortage, but a component shortage, perhaps.
Right.
Somebody brought up a good point in the chat. It's not a super chat, but they ask, could your guest explain why, despite having largest production capacities for manufacturing shells in the world, the United States has not been able to establish a satisfactory level of production?
I mean, satisfactory is a very vague term. I know that there was. I spoke with the CEO of one of the regulatory bodies in the gun industry called FRAC. His name's Travis White, and he brought up the RAND report, which was sent to Congress. And they basically came out and said, hey, the United States is woefully underprepared if we are to go into any kind of large-scale conflict. And it's less about like individual companies and more about our defensive industry as a whole, just not being able to keep up. And that's not only small arms. It's also large munitions, armor, all of the supplies, because we are, unfortunately, in this like half-ass global economy where a lot of our supplies just do not come from this country. So that kind of makes it very difficult to be prepared.
I'll throw a theory out. I'll throw a theory out there at you, and it doesn't have so much to do with like personally owned guns and everything, but it's just a sort of a military thing. Which I should actually ask Gorka about this. I've never actually talked to him about this.
He would know a shitload about it.
He would know about it, but it's just an idea that I had because I noticed that Trump was mentioning when he was mentioning Mark Milley. He'd go, Mark Milley always wanted to leave all of our military supplies in Afghanistan, and he was like, "What?" It's like, why would you leave our stuff over there? Why would you leave our stuff over there? And he's like, It's more economically viable, sir, or something like that. It will cost less to leave it there. And Trump's like, the hell are you talking about? I believe in one speech that Trump was giving that the press was not there, but somebody had a cell phone. I think Trump said something like, that's when I knew the guy was an effing idiot, which I always thought was funny. But it occurred to me that if Mark Milley is friends with all the military contractors, right, the military industrial complex, as they call it, if he's all tied into that, it makes sense that if they wanted to make more money, it would actually be a good strategy for the military to like lose all of their military equipment and then have to resupply the military. So that seemed to me to be a con that was probably what was going on there in Afghanistan, because nobody has really ever explained why we left all of our crap in Afghanistan.
I mean, I'm not a veteran. I'm not the best source, but from my understanding is that a lot of the stuff that we left behind was antiquated. It was obsolete, or so they say. You know, we don't know if that's actually true. I think it's really dumb to potentially arm our enemies. I think that's really
even
weird
with antiquated equipment,
right? Anything, giving them anything, any advantage is ridiculous. But I mean, it could have been that he was trying to make money. We don't know if he's on the take. That's very possible, and it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I just, my default is that everyone in DC is on the take.
I feel like that's a good default. Like, you're all pieces of crap. Let's just
exactly. Let's just assume until proven otherwise. Yeah, exactly.
right.
I have another question.
Yeah, go.
Of course, I have to ask this. What's your gun of choice? Or, well, either or both. What do you carry? What's your concealed carry?
So I carry an HKV P9. I've carried that for a long time. I've been toying around with a couple of other things. I've got a Wilson Combat. I've got an IWI that I'm playing with, and there's a few, I'm looking at a few right here. I don't know. These are too big. I like a lot of guns, as evident. You can't really see it, but behind me there's a few. But for carry, it's at least a full-size gun usually. Unless it's, so I'm really, really trying to get a slim thing going. I'm lucky. I'm a big dude. I can hide a lot.
We can go to a full screen.
There you
here.
Go. You can see a little bit.
We can see.
Beautiful. Oh my God.
That's not just like just not like a curtain with guns drawn on it or a photograph. That's
now I'm really jealous. He's got the beard and now he's got all the guns.
I've got a few. I mean, this is the product of doing this for as long as I have.
Yeah.
He's got all the guns. That's amazing. MMA Fix jumped in, and I think he beat us all in the toxic masculinity. Sorry, Chris. When I say, okay, from this point forward, it's true. He beat us in the toxic masculinity. From this point forward, when I say somebody has just jumped into the chat and said, just be quiet for a quick second. I'm just going to read the super chat. That's all I'm doing. All right. MMA Fix has jumped in and he says, I'm guessing his YouTube channel is about nature, right?
I mean, sometimes when I'm hunting,
Yeah, that's actually could potentially be true. Okay, I love that. I love
partially
that.
True.
MMA fixes our comic relief in the comment section. He always brings a laugh or two. All right, let's try to get to the news. You're too
no.
Interesting, John.
Chris,
okay.
Let's talk about guns.
Jason,
let's just talk about guns.
I mean, sure.
Go ahead. Let's start with the news.
Let's do the next thing. All right, let's see here. I'm not sure which is the first one. Okay, I think it's this one here. Trump warns that things are going to get, that Kamala Harris will implement Soviet-style price controls and things will get 100 times worse. I don't think it was just Trump that said that. I think even CNN said that.
Yeah, they did.
I think everybody's been like, price controls. What? Okay, hold on, lady. Somebody said the other day, it was great. I saw some interview where they go, you know what? If you don't want your opponent to call you a communist, maybe your first policy idea shouldn't be price controls. Maybe that's the best. Maybe not the best idea. I'll read a little bit of this. Former President Donald Trump warned that if Vice President Kamala Harris is elected to be president, things will get 100 times worse, adding that she would implement Soviet-style price controls in a post on X. Trump pointed out that as expensive as things are under the Biden-Harris administration, they would get worse if Harris is elected. Trump added that okay, God, they have to write it 3 times. They put it in the headline, then they put it in the subhead, then they also put it in the top
That
of the
SEO
story.
though, come on, maximum
That
SEO.
I'm sorry I read any of that. Okay. I should have just read Trump's tweet and that would be enough. But anyway, yeah, what's crazy is like Kamala Harris basically has said almost nothing about her policy stuff. Now, we obviously have a lot of policy ideas from her, from when she ran in 2020. We have policy ideas from, her entire time in the Senate. We sort of know where she stands. She's like the furthest left senator. Now, I happen to believe that Kamala Harris actually has no principles, that Kamala Harris has no policy ideas, that she is essentially a blank slate. Now, why do I say that? Because Kamala Harris, I believe, is the kind of person that will vote whichever way you want her to vote, that'll implement whatever policy you want her to implement, just so long as you pay her enough, or just so long as she has a better opportunity for job growth, let's call it, or, whatever. I think she has ambition, and I think she has greed, and I think she has no other principles at all, no other values at all. I think that's all she has, right? So that's my view of Kamala Harris. She's an empty vessel. You could just put whatever you want in there. That actually sounds more sexual than I meant to be, but you get the idea.
She'll understand.
Yeah,
she gets it. So anyway, that's my thinking on the whole thing. I don't think she is a committed communist. I think she is a fly-by-night communist. She just I think that she feels that she can get more votes that way, or she can get more power, she can get more favor from the general public, the people that like that kind of thing. She sounds provocative. She sounds interesting. Now, of course, she's running for president. It becomes a little bit more of a problem because before she was climbing the ladder of the Democrat Party. Now she wants to be president of the whole country, and she's got to walk back everything, and she's got to flip on everything. And that's why her campaign is saying, no, she doesn't believe in any of that stuff now. She's just flipped on every issue. But of course, she won't come out and talk about that stuff in any interviews. She won't put any policies on her website. Anyway, what is your view, John, of the empty vessel that is Kamala Harris?
This may offend some people. I don't know what your audience is like, but I think she is as bad as all the white women that will vote for her. And what I mean by that is that there's this like weird societal thing where, and it's oddly specific to white women on the internet. And what they love to do is promote that they are not racist, not sexist,
yes,
inclusive, all that sort of stuff. And it's not for the actual, like, they don't actually believe in what they're saying. They do it because it's self-serving. It makes them feel like they're doing something, right? It's this weird, like, self-aggrandizing bullshit, right? And what she is doing is just the other side of the circle. Like, that like the yin and the yang, they are one and the same. She happens to be sort of fueling that and going, hey, what about this ridiculous idea I have no idea about? Well, they go, yeah, you said it, I'm in. And it's just this weird cycle where no one knows what the hell each other is talking about, but they all just say yes to everything because it's not what Trump says.
They reinforce their own absurdity.
Yes. It's circular. It's so weird.
Yeah. No, I always imagine Kamala Harris at like a barbecue, but she's got like like a glass of white wine, and she's doing her normal cackle.
I called her brown Fran Drescher the other day.
That's I am stealing that, John. I am stealing it. It's too damn good.
Put me in the quotes. It's fine.
I take Fran Drescher's laugh any day over Kamala's cackle.
Well, Fran Drescher's likely less communist, so there's less of that weird overtones of like, I'm actually going to kill you and put you in a soup kitchen.
Yeah, I think she's actually a really cool person, probably in real life.
I don't know. I've never met her.
I've seen her in interviews and stuff. She seems like a relatively normal human being. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is, well, the thing is, like, you have these like wine moms, they call them, right? She seems like a childless wine mom. And she hobnobs with these kind of wine moms, and I feel like that is where she gets this idea, exactly what you're saying. I think she talks to these women, and she is the the sort of like, I guess, token brown person that they love her because like you said, they want to virtue signal this idea that, I'm not racist, actually. Like, unlike the other whites, I'm not racist, right? So white women always want, not white women, but leftist white women specifically, they always want to assert their non-racism, right? They always want to, and that's why they throw the rest of the white race under the bus. In fact, I think that this is true of all Democrats. And in fact, I think most Democrat policies and positions and branding, it all has to do with getting that sort of like, I'm a strong, independent white woman. It's all about getting that vote, right? Yeah. And I've said this on the show before, and this is going to be even more offensive than what you said. But I do tend to think that the female population in America, especially the sort of single, childless women, are like a little bit more gullible than the rest of the country. And I just think that that's what Democrats have figured out. They've gone, you know what? Women are more gullible than men. So we can basically tell them what we want as long as we put an emotional message into it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think it's less gullible and it's more emotional. It's absolutely an emotional thing. You're right.
But it's gullible because it's gullibility, because if you present somebody with an emotional message, it doesn't matter if that message is true. But I think to people that are a little bit more skeptical, we go, okay, I mean, it sounds right. And it's like, you're pulling at the heartstrings. I appreciate the message, but is what you're saying bullshit? People have to kind of like stop and think for a second.
Well,
in her case, everything is. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, what is your take, Jason?
I'm going to go further. I'm going to go further, and I'm going to say that we need to rescind the 19th Amendment.
There we go. Women don't get to vote anymore.
Really interesting is go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's not only me saying it. Most of my conservative Republican friends that are women are saying it. That women are a major problem when it comes down to election time, especially single white women. They tend to vote more. I saw a chart just today. They tend to vote more Democrat.
Yeah, I actually did a whole video about this that you obviously didn't watch.
Oh,
got him.
I never watch your videos, Chris. Why would
I know he never watches my videos. He used to, so he started doing the live stream, and now he's got a big head, and he's like, "I'm also a star, Chris. I don't need to watch your videos." And then I don't know. And then he does this. I don't understand it.
It's really weird. I don't know. I saw it earlier.
It's just one of those weird things that Jason does. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next story. We talked enough about Kamala being annoying and a communist.
She really basically is just the worst.
she's the worst.
Like, you know where you were in high school and you're at a party and these people show up and you're like, oh, it's that fucking like that's what it's like.
Yeah.
No, in one of my parody videos, I mentioned that at the very beginning that nobody really has the balls to tell her. What's her husband's name? Does anybody know? I forgot.
I can't say it without being incredibly mean.
Yeah. You're talking about the Democrats' sex symbol. It's crazy.
I know people are calling him a sex symbol now. What the heck is his name? I forgot his name. Anyway,
Democrats are calling him a sex symbol. Like they're all like going crazy.
There was a big article about how he's a sex symbol now. I think they're trying to make that happen.
Sure.
Yeah. But like I in the beginning of one of my parodies, I mentioned that like basically she's the annoying one at the party that makes everybody else not want to go to the party, but nobody else has the sort of balls to tell her husband like, look, we want to come hang out with you, but your wife is so annoying, we can't. And they don't have the balls to tell him that he's like basically a whipped beta male. I consider him the ultimate beta male. If you're a beta male, you should look up to this guy. What the heck is his name? I can't even remember his dang name.
That's funny because sometimes I'll talk about
Montel Jordan, or what was the other guy?
Montel Williams.
Montel Williams.
Oh yeah, Montel Williams, and then there was the politician before that. I think I can't remember his name.
I forgot his name.
I want to say
Willie Brown.
Willie Brown.
That's it. Willie Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug Emhoff.
It's funny because I talk with my wife sometimes, and like we'll go to parties or something like that, and I would always tell her, "Is so and so going to be there?" And she'll be like, "Yeah." I'll be like, "Okay, forget it." No, it's like one of those people. Yeah.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to derail that some more. I'm sorry.
Oh, we should derail it even more. Look, she put out a new campaign ad the other day, and I was this close. I didn't do it because I thought maybe it was a little bit too grotesque for my audience, but I was this close to putting together. I actually started writing the script, turning it from a campaign ad that was like, oh, we're going to create jobs and make the economy better, which she could obviously do right now since she's already the vice president, but whatever.
Yeah.
I turned it into something like, the economy is just going to get worse and worse. So women, you should start thinking about another viable profession, prostitution. It worked for me, this kind of thing. And we were going to talk a little bit about Willie Brown and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, this is maybe a little bit one step too far.
Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like,
I mean,
Willie
no,
Brown,
this is true.
Like, no, but think about it. Willie Brown. Listen to hear the name. I mean, it's hilarious. Like,
yeah. His buddies call him Brown Willie, if you know what I mean. All right, let's bring this back up. This next news story. It says Breitbart report: Trump properly licensed Foo Fighter song at rally with JFK Jr. JFK Jr. RFK Jr. Now, I didn't pick this story. Jason did, so I'm going to give you the lead on this, Jason. Why did you pick this story? Why did you want to talk about this?
Because so they played what is it? My Hero, something like that.
There goes my hero. There goes my hero.
Which was amazing. When they were playing that
perfect.
song and he came out, I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Whoever
I was like fist pumping. I was like, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah.
So now the guy's complaining that they didn't approve it, and then Trump brings out his side brings out that they paid the rights for it. So like he really can't do anything. And now he's saying he's gonna give all the proceeds that go to the rights of the song, like whatever they make from that song, it's gonna go to Harris and Walt's Harry Ball's campaign, So
right.
So yeah, I just thought it was
like
it's so stupid. It's like these people, these stars, and all these singers and stuff. They come out like why? This amazes me. Like they're so in their bubble, that they don't realize like you have half your audience is probably supporting Trump, maybe more. And it's like just keep quiet, just shut up.
No, when this story broke that Foo Fighters were going to try to sue Trump, I'm like, what? I thought you guys were supposed to be like anti-establishment rock stars. Isn't that what rock stars are supposed to be? Anti-establishment? Aren't you supposed to rage against the machine? Now they're like part of the machine. I'm like, this is so weak. This is such a weak thing
that's
to do.
The other thing. Like all these people are supposedly, like you said, they're actually supporting the party that's for the establishment party that's for big business, corporations, pharmaceuticals, and. They have a meme with what was it? I think the Sex Pistol singer. Like this is a real one, and
he is, yeah. He actually does rage against the machine.
I don't remember his name.
I know who you're talking about. British guy.
It was Johnny.
Yes, Johnny Rotten. Johnny Rotten was his name back in the day. I think he goes by his like real name now. Weirdly, but yeah,
I hate X for that because X is like bringing out all my favorite actors and singers and stuff, and like once you read that, it's like, man, I can't like these people, and I can't support these people.
I think the worst is Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill, he was our hero back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, my phone is trying to look up Mark Hamill. Okay. Weirdly, I didn't ask you to do that, Siri. Chill. But okay, so here's the thing. I never really liked RFK Jr. that much, basically because he is essentially like a leftist. I mean, he is a Democrat, really. But here's the thing. Most Democrats I consider to be, like I just said earlier, I consider most of Washington, D.C. to be bought. I consider them mostly to be compromised, either bribed or blackmailed or something. But RFK Jr. supporting Donald Trump has like completely changed my perspective on him. And the reason is because I feel like he's no longer just saying things for some ulterior motive. I feel like he truly believes the stuff that he's saying. And you know what? At the end of the day, even if I don't agree with you on everything, like I don't believe in the climate crisis crap, and he really believes in that stuff, But like at the end of the day, he wants to solve problems. And that's why he's endorsed Trump. And so you know what? If you really truly believe that you're trying to help the world by what you're doing, I respect that. Okay, even if you're a BLM activist or Antifa or something, if you really think, I respect the fact that you're standing up for your principles and you're doing what's right. I might think you're naive. I might think you're wrong. I might think you're even low IQ. But if you're standing up for your principles and you're truly doing what you think is right, that's actually why I like the far left progressives actually more than the establishment Democrats, because the establishment Democrats I just think are like sellouts and super uninformed. At least these crazy people, at least they have principles. So anyway, that's my view of RFK.
Speaking of low IQ, like they can't help it, so you kind of feel bad for them.
Exactly, you feel bad for them. Anyway, so John, what are your thoughts on RFK? Are you an RFK guy?
No, I mean, I want to touch on something I think is important about this Foo Fighters argument. And this is something I've sort of been banging this drum for a very long time. When you force somebody into an argument, you may not like what they have to say. And the Foo Fighters were forced into this. Back when Starbucks made policies about open carry in their stores, that was an argument that gun owners forced them into. And this very much is the same thing that happened. So I'm not surprised. It doesn't, like, I still think the Foo Fighters are one of the greatest rock bands out there. That doesn't change their music. Like, yeah, that's annoying, but I don't care what they think politically. I really don't care what Dave Grohl thinks politically. So that's fine. But when it comes to RFK Jr., the first thing I thought of when he started speaking was he will never be president because he sounds weird. That's how, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that is 100% something I believe, because if we don't have somebody that can articulate well as the president of the United States, it's just not something the American people can get behind. And whether you support his ideas or not, that is the number one thing people remember about him. And I also think the Democratic Party railroaded him just like they did to Bernie Sanders.
Sanders. I thought the same thing. I was like, this is deja vu, you guys.
Right, right. So if Bernie Sanders had endorsed Trump in such a way, we may have seen a different election in prior years. It may have been really, really different. And I think RFK doing this is a smart play on his part. It legitimizes him to a lot of Trump voters, which is kind of fascinating in the long run. And I think this sort of strategy of all of us against them is brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it's not only brilliant, it makes a lot more sense than I think that people might have thought about if they had thought about it before this endorsement. I think it makes so much sense because I think RFK actually did attract a lot of libertarians, because there are people that kind of just didn't really like Trump just because his personality or whatever. But RFK had some. He does appear to be somebody who kind of thinks for himself independently. He agrees with some leftist things. He agrees with some right things. Anyway, Jason, sorry I interrupted you.
I forgot what I was going to say because you keep talking, So you know me with my ADD, like
how dare I have a thought as well?
No, okay. Here's the thing about RFK Jr. that I like. Is it Robert F? Is it Robert F. Kennedy? I get confused. Or just
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah.
So here's the thing about him. He's anti-establishment. The establishment hates him. His own party hates him forever. It's been going on forever. So that right there tells me something about the man. It tells me that he's not going along with your typical elitist, and there's a lot of subjects I agree with him. His health. The main thing is his health, the issues with health in the United States and with children and with vaccinations and all that stuff. And I think he's spot on with that stuff. And the other thing is he actually would have been my if I were Trump, my choice for vice president would have been either him or Tulsi. And it's just for that one reason, to unite. Like he was the Gun Collective was saying, that's what I'm going to call you, the Gun Collective.
That's fine.
It's just that unite. If we unite, the good people of the United States, no matter what party they're from, need to unite together and turn things around. Because if Kamala and the bad people of the United States of America that run the politics and all that stuff, if they win, this country's not going to be the same after this election. So to unite everybody, that's what I would have liked to have seen. And there was one more thing I wanted to say, but I forgot.
I'll jump in.
I got to add this. when it comes to RFK, I think one of the biggest issues is the CIA has killed several members of his family, and I am very eager to see what happens if this assassination thing that Trump said he's going to put him on some committee or whatever nonsense. I'm very eager to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what I want to say was I hope Trump makes him the CIA director. Like, you know,
the best.
There's a meme.
Yeah, that would
There's
be
a
the
meme
ultimate
about
like
that.
revenge.
Yeah. No, I love that idea. Look, here's why I think that the two of them they like each other, why they've been able to find common ground and all this kind of thing. This is my belief, and I think it's true. Is that when you get people who genuinely want to solve problems, it's easy for them to find common ground, right? Because you go, okay, so you want to get from where we are to X position somewhere, out there. So this spot that is better, right? Improve the quality of life of Americans, whatever this, that, and the other. And if you have a genuine intention to improve the country, even if you have a little bit different politics, you can find common ground. You can work together. And so that's what I think happened. I think, Trump's a negotiator. Trump's a businessman. He's a problem solver. That's what he does. RFK has these issues that he's genuinely passionate about, and he actually wants to improve the country. When you get people who genuinely want to improve the country together, that's why when I was watching the RNC, right, the Republican National Convention, it was almost emotional, right? Because you could see everyone in the crowd. These are all, delegates. They're very passionate people in conservative politics. You can tell they really wanted to help improve the country. And they were like, that to me was like a very heartwarming moment to see all of them. And it wasn't just watching Trump, it was watching the other speakers. They clearly loved that they were there and they wanted to help improve the country. What was the DNC? DNC was this almost like weird cult thing where they're like, they're like, we're going to save the country with joy,
Yeah.
It was like Behar or Reed.
Yeah. And you're right, Chris, because that's the thing. Like I don't agree with RFK Jr. on his gun stance, but man, there's so many things that I can agree with him that he'd be a plus to like bring him on to Trump's cabinet or something like that. And it just shows that Republicans truly do want to solve issues. They truly will like work with the other party, or people with differing views, So that's important.
When this collaboration happened, I tweeted something like, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris talk about unity, right? But all Kamala Harris does is divides the country, and Trump delivers unity.
That was great, Chris. I love that one. That was like, I reposted it. It was great.
Hey, I got Jason to respect me finally. Okay, MMA Fix just jumped in and he writes, that about sums up why Jason and I didn't marry white women. Also, repeal the 19th. I tell my wife, I didn't say it. My avatar did.
I would get more detailed. That is why I didn't marry a white American woman.
Right. No, that's a good point. Look, I can't advocate for repealing the 19th. It'll never happen. We're going to, we're always going to have women voting in the country. My solution has always been, we need to tell better stories on the right. The reason the left often wins is because they tell these stories that are just ridiculous. I made a whole video about it. Anyway, you should watch it. The video is called "Should Women Be Allowed to Vote?"
How will you ever get young white liberal women to not want to kill their babies? That's the problem.
Fair enough.
I mean, really, that's what they vote on. Young white liberal women, their vote is about.
We may not be able to get them on that
murdering
issue.
children.
Yeah.
So how are we going to win that? It's
yeah, fair enough. Okay, Christy's Corner jumps in. She says, "You can know a man by his enemies more than by his friends." That is true, and also, mutual hatred is often more unifying than mutual love. Right. So if me and John are talking about, we love the Second Amendment, we love guns, whatever, we're probably going to be buds. But if we both are like, oh man, Kamala Harris is so annoying. She's so annoying. I got a better one. Like you're like brothers. Yeah.
I got a better one. I like AKs or I like ARs. That one.
For God's sake, we're not doing this. I'm not doing. You can't make me.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the next beautiful news story that we have here. This is about Cory Booker.
Oh God.
And he has said, oh no, this guy's my favorite liar in Congress. He says this election could kill the MAGA strain of the Republican Party. Should we play the video?
What the hell does that even mean?
We're gonna find out.
You know what I mean?
Hold on, let's watch.
Democrats made a clear effort at the DNC to frame Vice President Kamala Harris as the candidate of change. Take a listen.
Our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity, a chance
Anybody have some acid I can pour in my eyes?
way forward.
So I don't know about you. I'm ready to turn the page on these guys. We're not going back.
America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story.
A new chapter? I mean, she's the incumbent vice president. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. How do Democrats talk about a new chapter turning the page? You guys are the ones writing the book.
CNN's gone woke.
That's not true, Jake, because you know politics like I do. Right now, we see the MAGA Republicans in Congress killing all kind of pragmatic policies that we need to get done. On the most contentious issue, we had a bipartisan deal settled on by Senator Lankford, a right-wing Republican, and Chris Murphy, a blue state Democrat. And what killed that deal? What killed the pragmatic progress?
The border deal?
Wasn't the sensible Republicans, but really people that were kowtowing to Donald Trump. His influence is egregious and incredible.
That
from his
argument's so
appointment of
stupid.
3 people to the Supreme Court that are now rolling back
nobody believes
the
that.
most fundamental of our rights and freedoms, like bodily autonomy and reproductive rights. So to say that the MAGA Republicans are not still undermining common sense, pragmatic, sensible politics is just wrong. And what I know this election can do is finally kill that strain of the Republican Party in a way that I think helps the pragmatic Republicans come back. I'm one big believer. We get a lot more bipartisan work done than people realize. I just
okay. So I understand what he's saying.
I'm really, really angry right now, and I gotta let this out.
Go for it. Yeah, please do.
Why the fuck does it matter if we why these elected fucking assholes continually go, you know what the problem is? The problem is they won't let me keep making bullshit laws over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you making laws for? We have plenty. Enforce them, you dumb motherfucker. Go to the border. What the fuck is this? What is this? Why are we regular? Oh, this is a really pragmatic thing. It's really pragmatic. Bullshit. You shove some nonsense in there and they shot it the fuck down.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
That's exactly what happened. No.
What is
this?
Why are we pretending? Why are we pretending like we need to continually create nonsensical laws over and over and over again? We don't need more. We don't need more. We already have too many.
You've got to decode what Cory Booker's saying there, and you obviously decoded it very quickly.
I fucking hate that guy. Forgive me.
Well, he looks a little bit like Tiger Woods. I think that's why his star, or Barack Obama, right? No. Look, what he's trying to say is what pragmatism is in his view. What he's trying to suggest
pragmatism is, hey, this is what I think, so it's pragmatic. What?
Exactly. He's basically trying to say pragmatism is bipartisanship, and bipartisanship is doing whatever the Democrats want.
Yeah,
that's basically what Cory Booker is saying. Like we could be bipartisan if you just do whatever we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything I want. So then I'll call it bipartisan when you crush and suffer underneath it.
Yeah.
And see this boot? I want to put you under it, and if you agree to that,
bipartisan boot. I swear.
Exactly. That whole border wall law thing passing was everybody was onto that. Everybody knew, like, if you would just do what's on the books now, what's the law now, we would stop illegal immigration, illegal aliens from coming into this country. On X I wrote yes, if Kamala wins, America will never be great again. That's gonna kill MAGA for sure.
Oh,
exactly.
That's beautiful.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to shout out to Rich Rosetto in the comments who said my 2-year-old just learned some words. Good.
Sorry about that, Rich. Sorry about that, Rich. We still love
Rich,
John, though.
I'm not
Rich,
sorry. You got on the internet. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
Rich, your 2-year-old is learning good stuff with it watching us.
All right, Christy's Corner jumps in. She says, sorry, that's we already read that one, but thank you, Christy, for that. Curtis has jumped in. KD5AYY. He says, I married a woman from Mexico, and we let our 14-year-old son watch Toxic Masculinity. Well, hello, 14-year-old son of Curtis and wife. We respect you and appreciate you. And when John was talking there, he was mainly using the word fudging. I don't know if you heard that correctly. That's mainly the word that he was using there.
Dude, it's like, you know that feeling when you got it like an itch you can't reach? That's Cory Booker.
Yeah, that is Cory. Cory's America's great itch.
Dude, yeah, I like that. I'm stealing that.
What was it? The confirmation hearings for what? The white dude who they were dragging through.
Oh, Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah. Watching him oh my gosh, what an awful human being. Why did anybody elect that guy?
Dude,
it's great entertainment though.
He's Spartacus.
Yeah. It's great entertainment, man. I love it. Like it's like with AOC. Whenever she talks, whenever she's on news or a video, it's like the funniest thing. It's hilarious. Did you see her the other day? By the way, you saw her the other day? Her going off. It was wild.
What was this? About what?
I'll look for it. Continue going, and I'll
just going. I'm awful. Listen to me.
AOC is a weird chick because she's sort of like, I don't know. She's such an attention seeker.
She got elected because she's pretty.
Yeah.
That she has no qualifications, no understanding of policy. She has no background. She does not have any qualifications. She got elected because there's a bunch of dudes that are like, I'll vote for her so people think that I'm not sexist.
Well, the reason my YouTube channel blew up in the first place is I made a video called "The Brains Behind AOC." Right, and
was it
so
just a black screen.
No, but I might have to do that.
That's good.
That's funny. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I should do that as a meme. But anyway, no. There was a group called the Justice Democrats, and they basically just brought her in and said, "You be like a figurehead for our group." And in fact, they brought a whole. They were originally called Brand New Congress, and their idea was to primary all the Democrats that were in office already, and to go, okay, look, there are all these establishment Democrats. Let's bring in all these new Democrats, like these progressive Democrats. They only got a few of them in. There's what we now call the squad, right? That's all the Justice Democrats people. And AOC is sort of like their superstar, right? She sort of broke out as like the superstar. It was led by this guy named Zach Exley. And this is sort of like the great thing that he's done in his life is he's been able to sort of get AOC into that position. But anyway, they made a video in which AOC essentially says, anybody can do this, right, guys? Like, I don't even really make my own policy decisions. Like, you guys do all the thinking for me. And they were like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's wild, man. You should watch the Brains Behind AOC video. It was a fun video.
Yeah, you have to watch Chris's video on that because it's amazing. That's also what killed him on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube now suppresses my channel like crazy because of
that'll happen.
Because he brought the truth out.
But I'm sure they love Second Amendment gun guys, so I'm sure that there's no shadow banning of your show at all.
No. That's
Chris,
great.
I sent you the videos I was talking about. You got to show the first one first and then the second one.
There's an order to. We have multiples. All right, here we go.
Yep.
All right, hold on. I gotta find it here. Okay, you sent me 2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you didn't send it to me on Toxic Masculinity, though. You sent it to me on your own private.
Because too much
thing.
on the toxic.
Oh, I see.
Also, I just wanted to say I waited till way deeper in the show so the algorithm won't screw you over.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You're a true gentleman.
A gentleman and a scholar. Sometimes.
That's exactly it. Okay, so this one's from Clown World. Let's go ahead and play this. Oh, this is her at the DNC, yeah.
Because we know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends. And
He didn't write that.
I'm tired of hearing about how a 2-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life.
You hear the way she's talking?
Look at that face. She's
yeah,
crazy.
Martin Luther King got prettier.
Yeah.
No, yeah, everything she's saying there is it's like
now,
it's like reverse.
now show the next one, because that's how we Republicans see it as.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'll show the next one, but I just want to say real quick, like exactly the opposite is true.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Trump is worth like almost $5 billion. I think he's worth like $4 billion, something. And he doesn't need to line his pockets with a dollar. What the hell is she talking about?
Yeah, that talking point is the most ridiculous talking point ever. Like if you could trust any politician, which Trump is not a politician, if you could trust anyone, it would be Trump, because he doesn't need any money. I mean,
you know what's really fascinating is that one of the leaders of the Democratic Party is one of the biggest insider traders in Congress, and here she is talking about lining pockets and all this other nonsense, and they all do it. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, talking about Nancy Pelosi. Yeah.
But Nancy
there
Pelosi
are so many,
is filthy rich, and all you have to do, there's a thing on, I think, Reddit and all over the internet now, of all you have to do to know what stocks to trade is just follow what Nancy Pelosi is doing, and
exactly, or her husband. Yeah, exactly. I think there's even an app that follows Nancy Pelosi's husband's stock trades, so that you can just like.
Not only that, but also don't you like all these Democrat politicians when they're elected, they're most of them are just poor, but then as they progress, they become these mega rich people. Like most Republicans.
I mean, that's both sides. Every politician.
But a lot of Republicans, you can see like a lot of people go in as businessmen, the people that are making money, that actually had careers before they were politicians. It's on both sides, but I think the Democrats have it down with that. Like, it's. Go ahead, Chris. You want to say something?
I think historically there was it was a little bit more on both sides, and I don't think it was quite as rampant or as severe as it is today. What seems to have happened is that the Tea Party came along. This is before the Trump movement. This is during the Obama years, and they were very unhappy with a lot of the establishment guys in the Republican Party who they considered to be rhinos, they considered to be corrupt. And there was a big movement to get out a lot of these old corrupt Republicans and to say, F off, we don't want this kind of thing in our party. And the party began to shift. And so even if you were a rhino, you had to pretend you weren't. Even if you were corrupt on the right, you had to pretend you weren't. And so I think the Tea Party really cleaned up the Republican Party in that sense. And then Trump came in and talked about the swamp and everything. And people were like, yes, please, let us finally obliterate the corruption in DC. So now I think if you're a Republican, you either have to be honest or you really have to hide your corruption and your rhino tendencies very, very carefully. So it's a very difficult time if you're a corrupt Republican. I would say the corruption on the Republican side is, I couldn't even guess as to what the percentage is, but I think it's pretty low now. But on the Democrat side, I would actually say it's every single Democrat in DC. I would say every single Democrat in DC.
Yeah, unless you're Mike Johnson.
I don't know anything about Mike Johnson. Sorry.
Mike Johnson's the Speaker of the House. Jason's got this whole beef with him. He can't stand him. And I agree. I think Mike Johnson's also a rhino, but Jim Jordan likes him, and I always liked Jim Jordan. So I don't know. That's a whole other subject. It's kind of an old thing on our show that we talk about. All right. This is the second.
By the way, I've been named the Rhino Hunter. So.
Which is bullshit, by the way, because I'm the Rhino Hunter. You're my sidekick. I don't know why you get the name. Anyway,
man, he just knocked you down a peg. He said, "You're not even part of this. You're my fucking sidekick, bitch."
Exactly. This is what I get. This is what I get.
Not on this show. Just in the rhino hunting. Just in the.
Okay. All right.
I do whole videos about rhinos. He comes on the show. He complains about one of them. He becomes the Rhino Hunter. Please. Okay.
Hey, that's fair.
So annoying. All right, so now this is the AOC certainly gave a memorable speech last night. So somebody put a filter on her. Let's go ahead and play this. Oh shoot, hold on a second. I don't know why this is not. Come on.
There might not be any audio.
Oh, it's just this guy laughing. No, he should have played the audio. It would have been better, I think. But
I think that's like the perfect like.
Yeah, that's funny stuff. That's pretty funny. Yeah,
I
I
really don't enjoy the fact that politics have just become soundbite fishing.
Yeah.
Like we're not actually saying anything with any real substance anymore. These people are.
Well,
just
that's what
trying
she
to
was
say
doing there
something.
for sure.
Well,
yeah.
no, I mean, I think it's most politicians will just say whatever they can to get that 10-second clip on whatever news network so that they're the next viral thing. And look at, I'm dunking on this person or whatever. I think it started with guys like Charlie Kirk, where their whole career was built on, I eviscerated this person, that sort of language. And it's proliferated into actual politics, and nobody's saying anything of any real value anymore. It's wild.
Yeah.
Well, that's how Kamala Harris made her career when she was senator. Excuse me. Hold on one second.
How dare
you remember the Brett Kavanaugh hearings? I had to take a pill and I forgot. The Brett Kavanaugh hearings, she was like this, I'm going to like take him to task. So she's like, do you like beer, Senator? Or do you like beer, Brett Kavanaugh? And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And so this became like a thing, right? It became like a memeable thing. And Kamala Harris became a star from basically yelling at Brett Kavanaugh like a psychopath, even though all Brett Kavanaugh was accused of, I don't know if you remember this, Brett Kavanaugh was accused of literally pushing a girl on a bed when he was 14 and then wrestling with a buddy of his. And the girl who got pushed on the bed, because it was like roughhousing or whatever, said, I was afraid that he was going to commit a sexual assault. Well, it doesn't really matter what you think is going to happen. What matters is what happened. Okay. Right, and that didn't actually happen. And Brett Kavanaugh doesn't even know what the hell you're talking about. So it probably was a different kid, because you probably don't remember it correctly because it was 1,000,000 years ago. But that was the whole accusation. That whole scandal, whether this guy could be a Supreme Court justice, was based around whether or not he pushed a girl on a bed once and she thought something about the situation that never happened.
I'd really like to see the bank account.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Curtis has jumped in.
For that one.
Let me just jump in. Let me just jump in with Curtis's thing. All right, this is from my son Christian. He said, MAGA, all caps, quote unquote, and AOC stands for Alexandria Occasional Cortex.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Good job, buddy.
We like Curtis's good. We like Curtis's good.
Yep.
Good man. Good man.
He's being brought up well. Good job.
He's being brought up well. It's true that. Piggy Doo has jumped in, which is
that's right.
Somebody that we know.
Remember,
Dame Piglet is now Piggy Doo, and she writes, Jason is a co-host, and she writes, I learned that the hard way.
That's right. From last time, exactly.
That is true. He is a co-host. He's a co-host. MMA Fix jumped in again. He says, yeah, that popular YouTube guy, Jason the Rhino Hunter.
Crikey. Mike Johnson.
Jason the Rhino Hunter. All right. No, I'm being petulant because I think it's funny, but also because I am the Rhino Hunter. Tear. All right. All right.
I was just saying on that point, that's why I kind of like X and memes, because you have to mock these people. Like, exactly what you said, that the way politics has become, but and they just need to be mocked. They need to be made fun of, not being taken seriously. You need to take them seriously politically, because they do have influence. But they need to be mocked. And Republicans have that down. They got that. Conservatives have that down. Yeah. John, you're too much fun. We'll keep you for one more story. What do you say?
Sure. Yeah, I'm in.
All right. Let's go. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He says, what MAGA means to me, a nation brimming with vitality. This is fantastic. Did you get a chance to read his tweet about what MAGA means to him?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'm going to read it because it is pretty dang good. It's not what I would call MAGA, but from the perspective of a Democrat who's open-minded, this is actually really beautiful. I think it's good to hear people's perspectives that on something that you believe yourself, I think that's actually kind of important. Let me see if I can present his original.
Honestly, him saying anything about like sort of pro MAGA is really fascinating, because to this point, anybody that has any level of opposition has sort of used MAGA as like this negative term.
Yeah,
exactly.
For him
the
to
fascists.
sort of it's really interesting to see somebody that is quote unquote opposition actually speaking positively about it. It reminds me very much of what was it that Hillary Clinton called all of us?
Basket of deplorables.
Deplorables.
Basket full of deplorables.
They've replaced deplorables with like, oh, the MAGA, the MAGA, the MAGA. And most of us are just like, we want a good country again.
That's it. Yeah, it's so simple. They're like, oh, they want to bring back slavery and you know, beating their wives or something.
I really like to go on social and talk about like get on these sort of left-leaning videos and reels and all this kind of stuff and just be like, look, none of this that you're spouting off about is actually true. Like, people are not actually saying these things. And
let's bring back slavery.
No,
how often do I hear that?
Nobody thinks that.
Yeah, I whenever I see leftists say on X or something like that, like maggots or like put down MAGA, I always ask them like, what's wrong with making America great again? And also, why do you hate America so much that you don't want America to be great? And they have nothing to say. They have nothing to say.
They go, when was America ever great? It was never great, right? It was always terrible for black people and all this kind of thing. And we can get into the details of that, but I just want to read this real quick.
All right, I would come back with them. I would come back with them and say, have you seen Africa? I mean, come on, man.
America was always great. Let me just say that. The whole thing about MAGA, to me, I can explain, but let me read what it means to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., because I think this is an interesting take, and I think it's quite nice, actually. He says, what MAGA really means. The phrase has troubled liberals who think it's a call to return to America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. But I have a more generous interpretation, one that is truer to my experience of Donald Trump as he is today. Make America Great Again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, in freedom, justice, and democracy. It was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology, and it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I've talked with his inner circle. I have talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore. It's good, right?
That's
good.
Amazing. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? But the only thing he leaves out, I would say, and I don't know how much you agree with this, but in my view, I'm Christian, Jason's Christian, and not every Trump supporter is a Christian, but we all, I think, to some degree or another, recognize the value of traditional European Christian values. These, simple ideas of family and, like the natural course of human existence, like men are men, women are women, this kind of stuff. Masculinity isn't necessarily toxic, like we call the show.
Yeah, Richard Dawkins, a famous atheist, agrees with you. Like,
he's come out. He's like flipped to the MAGA side. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, a lot of the values that we had traditionally, even if they were, because these were Christian values, a lot of them have been rejected by modern society because they're like, oh, I don't believe in God, therefore I don't believe in Christianity, therefore I don't believe in Christian values. But a lot of these values aren't necessarily like, oh, I believe in God and therefore this is true. It's like, this is just true, whether you believe in God or not, right? So a lot of the sort of biblical values of America, the American tradition, the European tradition, these are things that, whether you believe in God or not, they're valuable to your daily life to just accept these ideas, right? I think Jordan Peterson talks a lot about hierarchies and how in nature there are hierarchies, and to improve the world, you need to respect those hierarchies. And the whole concept of the Democrat Party at this point is basically like, ignore hierarchies. If somebody's worse at something, actually put them at the top, like make them the CEO of your company if they're terrible at being a CEO. I mean, look at Joe Biden, look at Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? Like they took Karine Jean-Pierre, who is probably the least suited person I've ever seen to be press secretary. Her whole purpose is to communicate with the public, and she can barely read, right? But she is a black lesbian, and therefore she's the person we want to put in that very, very important position in the administration, right? These DEI hires and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's exactly as you say. The Bible, if you go by the Bible, it's a blueprint. If any nation follows that blueprint, you're going to have a successful society, a successful culture, and a successful government. Because if you follow those principles, what can go wrong? Even if you're an atheist or not, it's your basic principles of how to run your life, institutions, anything, and that's what made the West so great. They followed that blueprint. Now look what's happening.
That's not necessarily because it's Christian per se, although Christians would obviously assume that, but it's because a lot of those things are just the truth, whether you believe in Christianity or not. But anyway, so I think that's a little bit of MAGA as well. Like we got to get back to these traditional values. Whether you want to go to church or not is kind of irrelevant to that. I think a lot of people who believe in MAGA want to see us become a more religious country as well. But just getting back to the original principles of those Christian European values, and I don't think that's anything that anybody should ever want to disagree with, but the left definitely does crazily. Anyway, John,
it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter like what you do, like personally, how you live your life.
Deal with her, John. Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not about like what you do personally with your what you do with your life. It's mainly more like institutional. Like if a government is run like that, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, I think looking at that as the blueprint, like you said, is a good idea. Anyway, John, what do you think of RFK's, I think, beautiful vision of what MAGA means?
I think it is one of the most intelligent things he could have said. He could have come out and been like, I don't really like it, but I'm going to support it because of this, that, and the other. He came out in legitimate, like you said earlier, it starts to validate what he's saying because he's saying things that would piss off some of his supporters.
Yeah.
It seems that he is speaking independently, which is a breath of fresh air in DC. Holy shit, that's amazing.
Yep.
And I wholeheartedly agree with how he explained that. I wholeheartedly agree with his explanation of it. And yes, there are people in the maggots or whatever. There are people that are at extremes on both ends and sort of hide behind these ideas, right? But for the most part, most Americans are, like you guys said, seeking these traditional values. And I'm not a religious person. I don't go to church. I don't necessarily follow any one specific thing, but I do believe there are sort of underlying codes and ethics and morals that are the glue of our society, and they have been largely eroded. And it's kind of interesting seeing this, a guy that a lot of us looked at as, like I said earlier, opposition, saying something in what appears to be full support of not just Donald Trump. That was not about Donald Trump.
No.
You see, this is the most important part of this statement. That had nothing to do with Trump. That had everything to do with Trump supporters.
Yeah.
How do you get people to win? You actually give a shit about them. Boom, he did it. Just like that.
Yeah.
He just did it.
Yeah, smart. And he didn't describe it in a way that sounded like some kind of like excuse,
right?
Or reconciliation.
It wasn't a backhanded compliment.
No. I think that what he wrote was what he believes, and I think that he's probably had this conversation with other leftists, and he said, "You know what? I put it in a way that I like. Let me write that down. Probably put it in his phone or something." And said, okay, yeah, this is a good way of explaining this. Like he's probably explained. I do this sometimes where I'll explain something. Like I boiled down my pitch of Donald Trump to leftists in a very simple way. My pitch to leftists is, and I've developed this over a long time of just chatting with leftists and trying to figure out what they'll actually respond positively to. And I said, look, most leftists recognize that there's a lot of corrupt people in Washington, D.C., right? And they go, yes. And I said, all these corrupt people in Washington, D.C., they hate one man, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's true. And I go, so that's the one man you probably want to be president,
Yep,
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
and they can't really argue with that, you know? So I boil it down. But the reason I got to that really beautifully, short, tight, idea to be able to express to a leftist is because I had so many conversations that it drew me to that. So I think probably he's talking to a lot of his lefty friends and saying, no, I don't think MAGA is what you think it is. I don't think MAGA is what you think it is. Yeah. And he boiled it down to this one beautiful tweet. I think that's why we got this.
People don't understand how big this moment is. Like,
yeah, it's so
I never thought this would happen in my lifetime. Like to see this unity, but people don't understand how big this one is because this is a Kennedy that came to our side. A Kennedy.
I know.
People, do you understand what this is?
I think it's a testament to how crazy the left has become.
I thought I would never see this in my lifetime. Like somebody made, and the other thing, notice who's coming to our side. Just take Elon Musk, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So many people I can name that are important people, big people, and were very left before are now coming to our side. And then you think about who's going to the Democrat side. Yeah. Kissinger? I mean, come on, man.
Like rap stars and stuff like that. It's
people that are being paid to say things.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about. I'm saying some rap stars are coming to the right, and you get people who are being paid to go to the left, like they're being paid. That's a really good point. All right,
but I mean,
John Patton. Okay. Jeez.
Oh, but I put some gun articles, Chris. You're gonna just let him go? He probably wants to go because this show, whatever. But
we've gone too long. I think we've gone too long. We'll skip the gun articles. Sorry about that. We should have gotten to those a little bit sooner.
That's all right.
John Patton, the Gun Collective. Everybody who owns a gun, likes guns, has any interest in respecting the Second Amendment, they all need to subscribe.
Even the people that don't learn something.
Or even if you just like beards.
Sure, you can stare at that. Yeah, I'm fine
Click
with that.
Subscribe on the Gun Collective. You see how charming this guy is. I can't stop looking at him. He's mesmerizing. He's got that special something that you want to see on a YouTube channel.
I'm jealous, man.
Gosh darn beard. It's that gosh darn beard.
That's the one redeeming factor.
There was nothing else. Yeah,
that's it. It's just the beard. That's it.
You see that? You see the person right there in the middle? That's masculinity right there, people. The other two, I don't know.
I was actually going to ask you about toxic masculinity because that's the name of that's what we call the live stream. But I forgot to get to that too. So anyway, have a good one. We'll try to have you on it again at some point. John, you were magnificent. Thank you so much for joining the live stream.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me. Anybody out there listening, I'm not sorry that I cursed. Your kids will grow up one day and they will curse as bad as I do. Also, it doesn't matter who you vote for in this upcoming election. It matters that you go vote.
Amen. Yep.
I'll see you guys next time.
It also matters who you vote for. All right. I'll see you later, John.
Bye.
Good man. That guy's hilarious. I love it. Yeah, and he made some great points. I'm so glad he jumped on the show. All right, let's jump into the super chats one more time. Fernandez T, which I don't think we've seen you before on here. He says, I have yet to hear anything better than do unto others what you would have, or what you have done unto you, or what you would have done unto you, I think is the thing. He goes, it's the perfect law for all people. That's right. Yeah.
It's the golden rule.
As you want to be treated, right? That's the golden rule. It's so simple. Love your neighbor, love your enemy. There's so many good ideas in Christianity that aren't necessarily. You don't just have to be a Christian to accept those values.
It's universal.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to apply those values and not want to respect God for whatever reason, you can certainly go ahead and do that. I think it would make the world a bit of a better place, even if you're going to go to hell. But Jordan Peterson is great, I think, because Jordan Peterson was able to bridge that gap between the atheists who reject God and Christians who accept God, and say, look, you don't have to be spiritual to respect biblical teachings, and so what's funny? You reading the chat?
Fernandez T says he says that every time I super chat. That's it. My first low.
What do you mean he says that?
No, let me reread that. He says that every time I super chat. That it's my first time. Haha.
I'm sorry. Why don't I remember your name? Did you change your name? It's not my fault. You changed your name. No, I don't know. Did he change his name? I don't know. I don't remember this. I don't remember him not being on there. He says this.
Well, Fernandez T, I remember you. Thank you for the super chat.
You liar, Jason. Okay, Fernandez, next time you super chat, even if I remember you, I'm going to say, oh, this is the first time. We got to keep this going. Sorry, man. I have a bad memory. I have like a Joe Biden level memory. It's terrible. I'm doing boxing. And they're like, 1, 2, 3, whatever. It's simple, 1, 2, 3. And I can't remember. So if they add anything else, I can't remember. They're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll do something else. So they'll go like 1, 2, 3, and I don't know, like roll. But I can't remember to roll. Like I don't know, I do the wrong thing. I punch or I block or I do something wrong, and they always laugh at me because I can never remember the damn moves.
And you don't want to get the wrong moves because
no, I get hit in the head all the time. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Although I will say the other day, I was kind of proud of this because I don't really spar actually. I've never actually sparred because I just started doing this a little while ago. I was doing Muay Thai and then I switched to boxing. And when I switched to boxing, I don't know, I've just done boxing training and we've never really gotten into sparring at all. But a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, do you want to go spar?" And I was like, all right. So we jumped in the ring and I go, "Hey, you want to have some rules? You want to establish some rules? Like, what are the sparring rules? I've never done any sparring before." He's like, "Just like light, super, super light." I was like, all right. So we get in there, I'm expecting to just tap him, right? A little bit. This guy starts coming at me as hard as he can. I'm not even joking. This guy is like, these like haymakers. I'm like,
that's dirty. That's dirty.
That was dirty. Yeah. From England. He was a black guy from England. And he's got a lot of weight on me. He's a big dude. He's taller than me. He's got more reach. So I'm struggling to get.
I was going to say, I hope you gave him 100% of your power.
I didn't give him 100%, but I got in there and I got him in the gut I got him in the head a couple of times. And suddenly he just stands up. His face kind of goes cold. He throws off of his boxing gloves and he runs to the bathroom. And so I'm like, all right. So I take my boxing gloves on. I made him throw up.
Oh,
I hit him so hard he threw up. I was like, don't come at me. Don't come at me.
Yeah.
Like, why are you coming at me like that?
He
that
deserved
was dirty,
it because
man.
that was dirty.
He deserved it for sure. But I was actually really thrown. I was not prepared for him to go so hard. So I had to kind of like
you did good,
regain
Chris.
My composure.
You did good. You
Thank
manned
you,
up. I'm proud of you.
That was the first time I ever sparred. But why do we have so few views today? We got like nobody watching us.
Because we haven't been on for a while.
No, that's not it. I mean, these numbers are really low.
There's something. I'm trying to make a different. I'm trying to say something different than YouTube is stopping you. That's.
But it's weird though. I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's go into the next story real quick. We got a bunch of stories here, but I don't know. Maybe we'll end it soon because
when
I got some work to do.
When he left, everybody dropped.
No, that wasn't. It's never been good numbers. I don't know what happened. All right, Justice. This is a horrible story. Justice, European style. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov arrested due to lack of moderation on the platform. This is insane.
Yep.
Durov was arrested under a warrant related to various violations of his encrypted messaging service. I use Telegram, by the way. According to a report, all of the girls that I date in Bali are on Telegram. Just to throw that in there. According to a report by Le Monde, the 39-year-old who became a French citizen in 2021 is expected to be brought to court on Sunday. French authorities accused Durov of a lack of moderation involving Telegram. The messaging app is reportedly under attack in Europe for the viral circulation of false information. And they've also said that there's like illegal stuff going on, like people are coordinating illegal activity, some pretty sinister stuff. And look, I like the idea of, you know, using social media to catch the bad guys or stopping them from their sinister actions or something. But there's going to be evil people committing crimes all the time, all over the world. And like, let's say you have a train, right? And a train is carrying valuable cargo. Now, it doesn't belong to the railroad company, of course. It belongs to whatever, Wells Fargo or, you know, whomever is transporting that gold. And you have these bank robbers, and they go and they ride their horses along the side of the train, and they jump on the train and they get all the gold and they throw it off into a wagon and they ride off and they steal all the gold. You don't arrest the CEO of the train company. I mean, that's crazy. You know, you don't go, oh, you failed to secure the gold and therefore you're under arrest. No, the railroad company does what it, you know, it does what it does. It transports things. If you want to transport things on the railroad, you can, you know, they take measures to try to avoid the theft, but it's not always effective. But you can't arrest the guy who's just providing the service for this other person to use, and then they use it, you know, inappropriately, right? You know, so
it's not about anything. It's not about any of that. It's about controlling the speech. It's about controlling the information. And this is what.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
this is what they want. This is what they want for the whole world. What they did to this man is what they want to do to everybody that speaks freely or wants to say things on their mind. You know, like this is their plan for all of us. This is their plan for all of us.
I think you're 100% right, and this is why you know, Elon Musk is kind of freaked out. The president of Rumble just left Europe, and he was like, "I just escaped Europe," you know, like because he's like they're after Rumble as well.
Yeah, everybody needs to escape from Europe. Europe. Europe, man.
I love Europe, but it's so sad what's happening with their governments. It's just so sad. MMA Fix jumped in. He goes, "It's a great show, guys. Who was that new guy super chatting?" Yeah, I think his name was Fernandez T. I never heard of him before.
Franklin T. I think it was Franklin.
Franklin. Okay, Franklin T. I think it was. Okay.
No, it was Fernandez T. Man.
Yeah. Look. There is a sort of totalitarian thing going on right now with the left. Like, they want to control everything. They want to bring in, you know, when we talk about communism, what we're really talking about is authoritarianism. That's really what we're talking about, right? Because at the end of the day, the reason they want to bring in communism is so that they have more control, because that's what happens under communism. There's all these tight controls over the population. And this is something I don't think enough people talk about. They talk about, oh, Kamala wants to bring in communism. And there's a certain percentage of the population that goes, well, that's actually not so bad, you know, because communism, even if it doesn't work, you know, the people who want to bring in communism usually want to do so because they want to redistribute wealth to the poor people. So they actually have good intentions. And it's like, no, they do not have good intentions, because they know exactly what communism means. They know that there's going to be a certain class at the top, this fine line of people at the very top who control everybody else, control all the money, control the wealth. They have all the power, and they expect that they will be those people. And so Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, all of the people at the top who are advocating communist style controls over the American people, they're not doing that because they want to redistribute wealth. They say that, but the real reason is so that they have power over the people. Everybody else is beholden to them, and that's it.
You know, this goes for all the gun grabbers, all the people that want to get rid of guns and all that stuff. Here's the factor in all of this. Europe does not have a Second Amendment. Okay. So to all you gun grabbers, all you people that want to take away guns, this is the reason why Europe is becoming the way it's becoming. They don't have a Second Amendment. Here in the United States, the reason why it's taken them so long to kind of actually make the United States like Europe, it's because the United States has a Second Amendment, and they know, like, if you do something crazy, it can cause something crazy.
Yep. True that. There was something I was supposed to do today. I remember. Okay. Last night I was going to sleep. And I thought, I should set an alarm so I get up early so I do this thing. And then I was like, I got my show to do, so that'll remind me. And then I forgot again what I was supposed to do. But now I've just remembered. So fantastic. Well done, me. I told you I got like Biden brain. Like I don't always.
And right in the middle of our show. Perfect.
Shut up, Jason. I can do what I want. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next story here. You guys, I love doing this show, and I love all the people in the super chat. I love all the people in the chat, and I love our guests. That guy was awesome, wasn't he? I just have so much fun doing this every time. I hate when we miss it. Sometimes we have to miss it for one reason or another. One of us can't do it, and it's a little bit awkward to do the show by myself. So, and Jason has never tried, so I don't know what that would be like, but I'm sure it'll be okay.
Oh man, don't put me.
But
in
I love
spot.
doing the show. I love doing the show, so I hate to miss it. God,
if you miss the show one night, and you're telling Jason you have to do a show, I'm gonna be calling Kurt and begging him to come on the one show, please.
Oh, you know what might be? It looks like we've only got this streaming on YouTube, even though I selected YouTube, X, and Facebook. So I don't know. Maybe that's why we have so few views. But I don't know. All right. Well, let's look at the next story. Okay. Comic legend Eddie Griffin on the DNC. He says, they ain't cop my vote. I think isn't it they ain't got my vote? Okay. Donald, to his credit, said what he gonna do for the Negroes. Let's say the Negroes or ninjas. They used to call
ninjas.
When I used to park cars many years ago back in Hollywood, and it was like all black guys and me, right? I used to do valet, and they would actually call me like from that movie Training Day, ninja, but they didn't say ninja. They said the real thing. Just sort of messing around. That was kind of our thing. One of the black guys hated that they said that because they're like, you can't call him that, right? He's not one of us. He didn't like me very much. But they're like, no, man, Chris is awesome. And actually, there was this other kid. There was a kid across the way at Starbucks, and he used to get mad because he was like a nerdy guy. And I don't like. There's this weird thing with some nerdy guys where they get all into like a hip hop style. Have you ever seen these guys, like nerdy white guys that try to like be friends with black people because they think black people are cool or something? And
just replace the N with W, and there you go. There's a name for them.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy, he was always trying to be friends with these black guys at Valet, and so he'd always come across the street and hang out with us. But he was such a dork, And all these guys that I worked with, they all liked me because I didn't treat them like black people or whatever. I just treated them like people. We were coworkers, so we would just chat. We chatted about politics. We'd occasionally, we would often, actually, probably every time I went, we'd talk about race in some way or another. Because I don't know why black people talk about race a lot. At least when I was doing my valet, they talk about all the time.
Yep. But you're right.
I would give them crap. They would give me crap. We'd say this or that about black people, white people, whatever. And it was a fun exchange. It was just like, these were my friends. And this guy would come over and he would be so mad that they liked me. Even though I was like antagonistic to them and I didn't care about black culture. He was like, but I don't understand because I like black culture and I love you guys. Why don't you like me? And I'm like, because you're a freaking nerd, dude.
You know what I find? It's funny. Like, black people will respect you more if you don't try to be black. Like I have a bunch of black friends, and all that, and I'm me. Like I'm the whitest dude around them. Yeah, like it's like so. And I'm telling you, they respect that more than when somebody tries to kind of connect with them, because in their head, you're never going to connect with them. You're never going to know what they went through and all that.
Because it's a different culture. It's a different culture.
Yeah, just be you. Like just
do your own thing. Yeah. They taught me a bunch of stuff though. They taught me their handshake at the time. They taught me that you should. They taught me this thing called the itis. Have you heard of the itis?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they told me about the itis. They go. You mentioned that to black people, they're gonna be like, he dates black girls. That's how he knows that.
Exactly. No. You get a lot more respect, and they tell you that it's true. They tell you things like that.
Yeah. Black culture.
You're like in this club, like. I always go back to that Eddie Murphy skit where he puts on the white makeup and he goes into the bus. Like first he goes in the bus, like there's a black guy in the bus and they're all quiet. And then when the black guy leaves, it's like a party. Everybody's like partying. Yeah, it's exactly like that, but in reverse with blacks. Like if you're just straight up and you're not trying to be like, you're not trying, like you'll get some secrets.
Oh man, I've gone to black church with just like random black guy that I met once. I started going to his church for a while. I've been to like the black nightclubs. That was really wild. Going to black nightclubs with black people. What? Because you're you're the only white guy there.
Yeah,
it is wild, man. It was really, you get a lot of attention.
Hey, try black Haitian people clubs, and you put even more on it.
It's even crazy. Yeah, Haitians are kind of crazy, I would say. All right, comic legend Eddie Griffin says Donald Trump, to his credit, said what he going to do for the ninjas. And let's see, he praised him. Oh, so this is a video that he posted to YouTube. So we watched the video. Is it a long video? Oh, it's 14 minutes. No, I'm not gonna watch this.
Yeah, no.
But that's interesting. That's great, man. That's great. Because
that's huge. Yeah.
You know, you need a diverse sort of group of people, especially the people that you don't expect to be conservative. You need that to win. You know, even if they're not coming out publicly, you need them privately to vote. And I often talk about my like gay Mexican friend who's an actor in Hollywood who has switched to become a Trump supporter. And the reason I mention him so often is because he's never voted Republican before. Until Trump, he never voted Republican. He was always a Democrat. And I would always tell him the most oppressed group in America is the straight white men. And he always thought I was crazy, you know. And then Trump came along, and there are like literally women in Hollywood going, "Oh, if you're a straight white man, you're not allowed to talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about. You can't talk about women stuff. You can't talk about black stuff. You can't talk about gay stuff." And he's like, "Well, hold on. They've got a brain. The straight white men have a brain. They can observe and think. And like, if you're saying that the straight white man is the reason for all your problems, they need to be able to defend themselves about that issue. So they need to be able to talk about that issue, you know?" And so he calls me and he's like, "Dude, you were always right about this. And I always thought you were crazy." It's like, "But you're totally right." And it was just such a nice moment in my life to see that change, you know. But it took, and you always say this, Jason, you're like, it has to get worse before it gets better. And that's the thing. Under Trump, the Democrats started to kind of reveal what they really think, you know, because they always pretended that it was about equality and inclusion. Oh, we want to include the gays. Oh, we want to, you know, we want to raise women up to the level of men. Oh, we want to stop the oppression of the blacks and blah, 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 blah. But the solution to all of those things was always F over white guys. You know?
Yeah.
You know, give benefits to everyone except the white. It was always exclusion. We're going to exclude straight white people, straight white men in particular. We're gonna exclude this group. We're going to raise up these other groups and try to bring this group down. And so, I don't know. To me, it was always masking bigotry. Their sort of inclusion, acceptance, equality. It was always masking bigotry. And now you've got this equity crap, and the bigotry is being exposed massively.
It's that, and it's also the soft bigotry of low expectations. Because by doing that, what are they saying? That white men are like the most greatest geniuses, successful. You know, like, I mean, what are they trying to say to minorities? And you know, it's pretty much.
Well, you know, look, the truth is, a lot of straight white men are very successful, but not all straight white men are very successful. You know, like it's a weird thing to go, oh, these are all the bad guys. And I think it's easy for them to sell that because of movies, right? Movies and TV shows for, you know, since the sort of like dawn of cinema has most of the villains are usually, you know, straight white men. And you know, there's these certain caricatures they have of the rich straight white men in particular, like the Scrooge type character. And they've basically said this is all straight white men. And a lot of people go, yes, that's true. That's true. But, and obviously it's not true.
But you know, I think that's where the real racism is. This is where, for me, the Democrats are why I say they're the most racist. Because they're just programming these people to think a certain way, to think that they're not good, that they're lower than white people. You know, I think it's just programming them for failure. You know, and I think they're doing it on purpose.
I don't know if that's necessarily intentional, but it totally does that for sure.
I think they are. I think these liberal white Democrats up on top are evil, and that's what they're doing. You know, especially with black people. Like I don't know why they want to keep them down so much. It's sickening. But what I love is that because you can say like, look at Asian Americans and look at Indian Americans, like nothing gets to them because they become successful no matter what, you know, like the Asian Americans are one of the greatest stories. They are America right there because they had some of the most racism on them from back in the West, back in the 1800s, you know, they were treated terribly. And look at them now. They're one of the most successful people in the United States of America. So
incredible. Yeah. The only Asians I really don't like are half white, half Asian guys from Hawaii. Those are the worst.
Yeah. I know. They freaking let me not say.
Terrible people. No, this is I'm talking obviously about my good friend Kurt Franklin, everyone. That was the joke. That was
we should have like a little picture or a little bobblehead of him as a third
as our third host.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh my gosh. Well, it's been a fun day. Do we have any other big stories we should get to before we sign off? Is there anything that you wanted to get to particularly?
Let me go to the.
This is where the show gets interesting. While we look stuff up on our computers, guys. We got some Kamala Harris campaign stuff. We've got some RFK stuff. We've got some joy and hope. We've got this thing about Germany, tougher knife laws, Elon Musk's Second Amendment. Oh, yeah. So you got a bunch of Second Amendment stuff here.
Yeah.
Whoops. Well, yeah.
Chat. Give us one last story to talk about. Give us one last
chat. Why the chat?
Yeah, just give us one last thing to talk about it, and we'll talk about it.
All right, I'm just going to jump into the Germany one. I don't know what this is, but why'd you want to look at this? Okay, so Germany's Schultz again vows tougher knife laws, increased deportations after fatal stabbing. Right, so they're trying to talk
be
about
for the host, for the guests.
Muslim immigrants.
No, this is going to be for the guests too. Like they got rid of the guns, now they want to get rid of the knives. Now they're in a situation now that they just don't know what to do because violent crime is rampant again over there. People are getting stabbed, killed. You know, it's and it's all because they're letting
sorry. It's really sad that this immigration thing has, you know, it's funny. Okay, so I live in right now, like living in where I am in Indonesia. There are a lot of Muslims. Actually, one of like my best buddies here that's like a local is a Muslim guy. And it's weird about the Muslims in Bali in particular, where I'm staying. They're really nice, good people. They're like very sort of respectful and they're not violent and they're just good guys, right? And so I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's the faith itself that's the problem, right? Because there's like some teachings in the Quran that are a little bit sus, right? But there are Muslims.
Most.
Anyway, but you know, you go around the world in a lot of countries. If you travel at all, you realize like there are really truly good and bad people in every group. You know, there are good Muslims, there are bad Muslims. Like there's peaceful people, and there's, you know, there's polite people, there's rude people, there's quiet people, there's loud people. You know, it's so I actually think this really does a disservice to Muslims all over the world when you bring in to a relatively peaceful country, a relatively polite country, a bunch of rowdy, aggressive, violent, vicious, radical, crazy Muslims. You bring them to the West and they commit these crimes, they kill people, and they commit acts of terrorism. What do the white Christians in Europe, what do the white Christians in America, what do they now think of the Muslim population around the world, right? Because they're not really traveling. Like, I mean, a lot of Europeans travel, but Americans, we don't travel that much, right? So what happens is most of the only news we get about these people is that they're violent criminals, that they are terrorists and that kind of stuff. It doesn't do anybody any good, right? Better to have a secure border and actually bring in the right people from cultures that are similar to yours. I've been trying to say this for a long time, and I'm going to try to bring this up with Trump if I'm ever able to chat with him once he becomes president. Like, we should actually go back to a model in which we prioritize European immigrants over other places, right?
Yes.
And it's not because they're white. It's because they're culturally similar. They've come up from a Christian tradition, a Christian European tradition, which is how the Americans came up, right? So if you bring in cultures that are similar to yours, you will have a lot fewer problems than if you bring in these diverse cultures, which is the priority now. And we just got to ignore the cries of racism, because the cries of racism is a sort of like a way to demonize somebody. Yeah, it's this meritless demonization that forces you to do, it sort of blackmails you into doing what they want. It's like, no, you've got to do what I want, or I'm going to brand you as a racist. Well, go F yourself. Okay. As Elon Musk would say, go F yourself. Right. Like I'm not going to be beholden to your blackmail because you think you're going to paint me with some brush. I'm not a racist. Okay. I don't give a crap about what color your skin is. Here's what I care about. Are we bringing in the right people into this country that are going to be respectful and quiet and all this kind of stuff? Like I always say this, it's not just about violence, right? Certainly, if you bring criminals into like a country with like law-abiding citizens, the criminals are going to have a field day, right? Because there's going to be this vulnerability.
Which
if
is
you
what you see in Europe.
Exactly. If you bring violent people into a mostly peaceful region, again, they're going to exploit the vulnerable population there. They're not going to be ready for it, right? But also, it's as simple as if you bring in a loud culture into a quiet culture, you destroy the quiet culture. Imagine you have a library. There's 100 people in the library. Everybody's quiet. You bring in one loud, rowdy, obnoxious a-hole. He disrupts the entire library, right? So I'm not saying like loud, rowdy cultures are necessarily a-hole cultures. They're not. I mean, some loud, rowdy cultures are fantastic. They're beautiful cultures, right? Like a lot of Latin American cultures are cool cultures. Like people love these cultures. They want to do their, engage in those cultures, dance their dances, listen to their music, all that kind of thing. And that can be done in, especially like if you want to go to that country, of course, you're going to really indulge in that culture and envelop yourself in that culture. You're going to love it. But you bring people from that culture here, especially people who are, not necessarily respectful of your culture, and they bring their culture in, and their culture is really loud. They listen to loud music in their car. They shout across the street at their friends, and you bring into a quiet neighborhood in America, you ruin that neighborhood. And it's not because of the color of their skin. It's not because of the race. It's because culturally they are louder than your culture. They destroy it. I think that's actually a reasonable concern, right? And I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about my own personal culture because I don't even really, I travel the world and I have my own thing going. But I have this respect for traditional American culture that the left doesn't have. In fact, I would actually go so far as to say, I think the left wants to destroy it.
Yeah, you're Irish heritage, right?
Me? No.
Yeah. What was it again? Scottish.
I'm German. Primarily, I'm German, but I also have a quarter Scottish. Yeah, quarter Scottish.
Yeah. No, we don't want Germans in here. We don't want Nazis in here. So,
yeah, fair enough. See, that's the reaction everybody should have to racist jokes. I love racist jokes. Okay, and when my reaction to him saying we don't want Germans here after saying you're German, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm German. So we don't want the Germans here. We don't want the Nazis here. I know he's joking. Like to me, that's good. That's a clear illustration of how everyone should react. If I say something, I said this was actually pretty bad, but this is one of my favorite things. The same guy that wanted to spar with me. See, this is why we're friends. Actually, this is why I'm friends with this guy, even though he tricked me. We have to do this running for training, right? We have to run laps, right? So we're running laps, and I'm like right behind him, and he's going a little bit slower than me because he's a little heavier, And I'm like, hey man, you gotta pick it up. I go, pretend it's the 1850s.
Oh man.
In America, in the deep South, I think that's what I said. And because it's a white guy chasing a black guy, right? So he turns back to me. He goes, "I will not pick your cotton," and he. And that just about killed me. I almost had to stop running. I was laughing so hard.
That's
hilarious.
Like,
that is perfect, man. That's a perfect joke. That was like, You went right into the dramatic interpretation of that joke, and I just thought that was great. So yeah, so you have a little bit of fun. I think that to me is a much more unifying way of living. Than this whole you can't say anything to the delicate blacks, and then the black people are like, yeah, okay, you're not allowed to talk about us, I guess, or you're an evil racist,
Yeah, the poor little babies, they can't take it.
Yeah, and this is sort of like, your liberal white woman who does this. Like, don't you dare talk to them like that. They're delicate. Can't you tell? The savages are delicate. And it's like, they seem all right to me. No. You can't say any jokes about them. No. The black people I've known in my life are a little bit more resilient than that.
Yeah, exactly.
We need that unification. Exactly. We need to unify through humor, I think. I think that's important. And what Vivek Ramaswamy said? He said, well, real quick before we go, Vivek Ramaswamy said something really brilliant at the RNC. He says that, what's unifying is success.
Yeah,
success is unifying.
Exactly.
And Trump will bring success to the country. And I love that. I love the idea of unification through comedy, unification through success.
Yeah.
If we all have a similar goal of improving the quality of life of every American, doesn't really matter anything else. We don't have to do this. What do you call it? Identity politics BS. You can help out the gay people. You can help the transgenders. You can help out the black people. You can help out the women. You can even help out the straight white men who you hate, leftists, all through improving the economy, improving. And Trump does have a plan. It was funny as I saw this thing the other day where they're like, oh, Trump doesn't have any plan. I think it was Elizabeth Warren said this at the DNC speech. She goes, Trump has no plan for helping ordinary Americans. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He's got to focus on energy. That's his focus, right? Not the renewable energy crap that the left is obsessed with. But
I could tell you this.
Processing, distribution. Yeah.
His plan in his first term really helped me out. So I don't know what she's talking about. If he just does that again.
Yeah. Listen, because the Democrats restrict prosperity so much in America, it's very easy for Trump to come in and deregulate a little bit and create an economic boom again. He can do that, right? He can, like that is his first term. He brought back a lot of jobs to America. He revitalized our, manufacturing in America. And I think this time he's focused on energy. He's like, look, the gas prices are too high. Look, if it costs whatever it is, $7 a gallon, I know the big rigs, they take diesel, but it costs a lot more to ship, your stuff from this place to this place. You've got like this, shipping container full of food or whatever it might be. You're increasing the price of all the stuff in that shipping container, right? If you increase the gas prices, and there's a lot of processing that takes energy, and once you reduce energy, you reduce the cost of everything.
Yep.
And that has a multiplying effect over many, many different industries. You're going to end up with cheaper everything. And the more Americans prosper, I think the more efficient and effective we can become. I think Trump's got a great plan. I think, he's got this whole tariff idea. People don't understand the tariff idea. They think the tariff idea is the idea. It's not the idea. The tariff idea is a leverage idea, right? If Trump can impose tariffs on every other country, then he can say, look, you give us what we want, we'll drop the tariffs. So he's trying to put America in a position of negotiating power. That's all tariffs are for Trump. It's a negotiating tool. Anyway, you got anything else to say, Jason, or shall we wrap it up?
We should wrap it. Let's just wrap it up. I was going to say there was a good story that one of the people in the chat said, but I think we should end it there because that was a pretty good ending.
It was a good rant. It was a good rant.
Yep.
And no F-bombs in that one. Unlike some people, John.
Yeah.
No, that was great. That was a great show. That guy was great. It was fun to have on.
Hey, his feelings really came out there. So
what? I love that he's so comfortable in front of the camera and he's such a natural. It's great to have somebody like that. You can see. Yeah, he's a pro. He's a pro. And you guys should definitely.
I'm sure his show is more professional.
There's no way it couldn't be. All right, Jason. All right, chat. We will see you guys on Thursday, and we will definitely be on this Thursday. So hopefully we'll get more viewers then. I don't know what happened today. But anyway, all right, that's our show. Thanks for watching. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night, everybody.